Hey, Melissa here from GirlGoneFishing, and today I'm pre-fishing Rocky Fork Lake for a tournament next weekend. Next weekend is the last event of the Buckeye Kayak Fishing Trail regular season, and you get your choice of Rocky Fork or Paint Creek. So it's a big tournament for me. It'll determine who gets in the top 20 of the Angler of the Year standings and makes the end of the year classic tournament. So I'm sitting 18th right now in standings, and I need to move up, and I need a good tournament next weekend. So I'm out here pre-fishing. I've been to Rocky Fork twice before, but I really only covered like a minuscule amount of the lake. So today my goal is to cover water. I'm going to go down a little bit towards the deep end. I'm going to go down towards the shallow end and see what I see. See if I can find some fish, see if they're relating to like shallow wood or deep points or rock or what. So it's like a scouting expedition, pretty much the first time that I really pre-fished like this. So I have to figure it out as I go. That's kind of like what I love to do. So here we go, gonna load up, set up, and get ready to launch on Rocky Fork Lake. Right now I'm starting shallow with topwater, and today it's the River to Sea Bubble Walker, and I think this is really cool because it's halfway between a walk the dog bait and a popper. So if you give it enough slack line in between your twitches, it'll go like this, like back and forth, which is pretty cool. And then there's a little bit of popping, not too much, but I really like it. It's small, compact, kind of shad sized. So that's what I'm starting on. All right, I've got Z-Man Evergreen Jackhammer Chatterbait, and this one is actually in chartreuse and white. I might switch that up because this lake isn't as muddy as the last one, and my poor little Kayak trailer from the last trip lost its tail, but I'm gonna pair it with a 4-inch Kayak trailer, easy shiner. So this is also on Shimano Chromark reel, and I've got this one on an Avid X. Almost all of my bait casting rods are St. Croix Avid X. This one is a 7-foot medium heavy fast action. Love these rods. Unbelievable value for the money. Love these rods. All right, I have one random G Loomis rod in my rod arsenal, and it's actually a worm and jig rod according to the little design on the handle. So I've got a jig on it, and this is one of those Brian Schmidt jigs that I found on Tackle Warehouse, and I don't know anything about the guy or about him or the bait company, but I thought they were really cool because they're a combination of like a hair jig and regular jig. I heard there's a rocky bottom on some of these points, and I will drag it down a point and see what happens. So next is my Finesse soft plastic setup on my spinning rods, and the first is a Texas Rig Z-Man Big TRD in green pumpkin, and right now I've got it paired with a 1/16 ounce tungsten cone weight, and this one's from Mustad. I usually get Strike King or Bass Pro brand, but I like the fact that these have the weights printed on them, so going with that. My finesse rods are all Mojo Bass from St. Croix. Awesome rods, really good value for the money. And all my spinning reels are Shimano Stratix, the CI4 Plus. Okay, so next up would be my weightless Senko. There's a lot of wood on the shore on certain places around here, and I'm picturing a weightless Senko being a good solution for how to get into that wood. It doesn't get hung up as much as anything else that I've thrown so far. And this rod is a Proteus. I'm really excited about this. These rods are designed and built for a guy in the Buckeye Kayak Fishing Trail, and he offered to let me try it out and see what I thought. So on this rod, I'm putting something I've never used before, a Carolina rig. I heard it's good for like the fall transition where the fish are kind of like at the deep parts of the rocky points and stuff. So I like fishing points, I like fishing rock, so I thought, okay, I'm finally gonna give it a try. Stop being stubborn. I've always said a Texas rig should do the same thing, right? But it's really that I like sticking with what I know, and sometimes I'm stubborn about learning new things. But it was time. It's time I finally embraced, or at least tried, a Carolina rig. So I've come up with using the Seagar, however you say that, a BrazeX line. I always use the Seagar and VizX line. I use 10 pound to 15 pound depending on what I'm going to be using it for and if it's a spinning rod or a bait caster. But I was advised to change over to the BrazeX. Has a little more durability dragging it over the rocks on the ground. I had to buy the little beads and a little weight and some swivels, and I've got those KVD Mustad grip pins in 1/0, a little bit smaller. And for this I'm using a 3-inch pit boss, but you know, I think you can put anything you want on the end of it, like a worm or a different creature bait or a lizard or whatever. Oh my gosh, there is shad all over around me on the surface. This is crazy. Probably too much bait to get bit. Wow, like it's everywhere. All right, well, enough yakking, enough yapping. Let's get fishing. I'm in 1.5 feet of water right now on pretty thickly matted grass. So I'm not sure if there's going to be fish here or not, but it seems like a good opportunity to throw the frog around, just see if I can trigger something. You know, I can actually see lines in the scum from other people throwing frogs. These fish have probably seen a million frogs. But I don't care because I've fished at Lake Gunnersville before and Chickamauga, and those fish under those mats have seen 10 million frogs. And yet you can still get them to bite. So eliminating water makes more sense to me than finding water for pre-fishing. So, you know, I understand the theory that, you know, I've tried everything here and I didn't get a bite. So I'm not going to waste this time on tournament day because I will have checked it off as a waste of time or at least a real long shot in trying to get a fish. So about to have this thing crossed off here, this little 1 foot deep weedy cove. I mean, it looks great, but I think it's too choked with grass to have bass down there. From my limited mat knowledge, it does not seem like an ideal mat. So there's just so many bait fish over here, it's crazy. So I think it's time I make a move down, all the way down the lake. Now see, these have more what I would think of as a productive mat, even though it's a mat of lily pads, but I'm in 5.5 feet of water right here. And I'm sure, you know, it's a gentle slope up to the shore there. And so we've probably got 6 foot under these lily pads here into like maybe 2 or 3 feet up there. And I would think that that is, you know, what the bass want. Access to deeper water, access to the main channel, but still protection. But maybe it's not a thing when it's cloudy. Maybe they just go under there when it's sunny and they want shade from the lily pads. I don't know. All I know is I haven't got anything except a tiny little bass to bite today. I think all the bass are full, not hungry, fat, because there are so dang many bait fish here right now. I'm just not set up to fish grass. After last weekend where I fished Allen Creek and there was no grass whatsoever, I just don't have the right tackle with me to deal with this lake right now. But that makes me really, really glad that I'm pre-fishing today because I didn't have to learn this lesson on tournament day. I can go home and repack my stuff. I'm thinking I'll put on a weightless fluke. That comes through grass pretty well, and maybe a Kayak on an underspin or a brown ball jig head. Got to get a buzz bait or a buzz toad. something that'll come across the top of the water and make a commotion, but won't pick up any of that grass that's like folded over and floating. Did you get a frog? Got a frog. Nice. What a frog. Yeah? Oh, I see it. This is the creek. Well, I'm back to where I started from, and I don't have anything great to report. I didn't catch any fish. I tried everything I wanted to try, ran through all those different rods. I tried deep water points, I tried shallow, I tried wood, I tried offshore. I mean, I did the backs of coves, I frogged lily pads, I frogged grass. I mean, goodness, I tried everything. I even went way up a creek, but I just didn't get any fish. So I'm gonna try Paint Creek tomorrow. The tournament next weekend is either Rocky Fork or Paint Creek. So fingers crossed I get onto a good pattern tomorrow. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm gonna do next weekend. I'll be going into a really big tournament, kind of not feeling very great about things, but I guess I would have to treat it like all those tournaments I didn't pre-fish, which is every tournament except this one, and just go into it and say, let's go fishing and catch fish. So anyway, thanks for watching, you guys. Thanks to Strictly Sail and Kayak for the Hobie links. It was really windy today, and that links really helped. But thank you guys for watching, and hopefully the next one will have more fish. So I'll see you guys out on the lake on the next one.